Welcome back, Blackfox Outdoors. Okay, today's video we're going to go over some of the stuff that we like to throw, some of the places we like to fish. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So let's get started on location. So a lot of locations, when you go to new lakes, something like that, especially in this hot weather, we like to try to back off, find the deeper points. Maybe you get a point coming down, it's got a flat in it. We love to fish the ledges, so that's a good kind of spot. If you haven't really tried fishing that, that's a good spot to start looking. Otherwise, man, we'll sit there and beat the bank. I mean, we ain't above that either. We'll fish every shady spot if it's really sunny, and that's usually where you're going to find your bass. I'm not necessarily going to say that you catch big fish only deep, because you can catch them shallow in the summertime, but you just got to know where they're at. So one of the things besides the jigs that we like to fish is a good Texas rig. So Texas rig, I'm sure everybody already knows what that is. We're going to go ahead and go over it anyways, just in case everybody doesn't know. So Texas rig, we like to use the extra wide gap hooks. My favorite's the Ultra Lock by Mustad. You can use whatever you're comfortable with. That's just the one I like to use. But as far as the worm weights in general, the bullet weight, stuff like that, I will normally stick to Woo tungsten, and the reason why is it's a good quality tungsten that it's not going to break your wallet. I mean, we went through and we can order tungsten, and it's not that expensive as far as what you find everywhere else, and the paint's really good on them. So, but tungsten line choice, I like to throw fluorocarbon, and the reason behind that is if you got the fluorocarbon with the tungsten, you're going to feel every little pebble, every little stick, every little bite on the bottom. Every time that fish touches it, whatever, you're gonna know it's there. So we're gonna set this aside and we'll show you, we'll rig it up, tie it and everything here in just a second. So the other things that we like is go ahead and open up the old jig box here. Shaky heads. So shaky heads are another good tool to use in the summer whenever you it's a tough bite, or if you're just wanting to take your kids out and you want your kids to catch some fish. This is a good bite getter. You won't always catch monsters on it, but I'm not going to say that you won't. You will catch a lot of fish on it. Just sometimes the size is usually on the smaller side. As far as the jigs and stuff like that go, we throw a different jig just about every day we go out there. I mean, we got different stuff that we like. So I might be throwing a bigger grass jig or something, something of that nature, and then turn around, try to throw something a little smaller, compact. So trailers are not really that important. You kind of throw whatever trailer you want on there. So we'll go through with that, rigging it up the trailer. So this one's 7.2 medium heavy, and I mean, it kind of goes at 1/8 ounce to 3/8. It's a pretty general rod for me, so I mean, I'll use it for Texas rig, and I'll use it for smaller jigs, shaky heads, stuff like that. But that's most generally the rod that I will go with, and a lot of times I'll use that 7-to-1 reel and fluorocarbon. I believe this is 17-pound fluorocarbon that I've got on here right now. So we'll go ahead and switch over and get you where you can see the us rigging it up. So, all right. So first thing you want to do is make sure you put your Woo tungsten on there first. Run it on. Some people like to peg it. I don't. I mean, it just depends on what I'm doing. If we're trying to flip or something like that, but I'll have it on a whole nother rod. But Texas rig, I'll leave it loose. When it comes to your hook, run it through there, run it right back through that same hole that you originally put it in. And this knot's called the Palmer knot. Everybody knows how to tie it. Just bear with me. Everybody doesn't. If you like it, try it out. But you're going to take that, tie just a regular box knot or whatever, and then you're going to run the hook through that loop that you just made. So before you make sure and tighten her down, you want to make sure and get that all lubricated. A lot of times I'll just get it wet, get it on there, and then pull that tag in tight. Now the reason that you want to lubricate that is fluorocarbon's got a real bad habit of friction, burning the line, and it'll make it weak. So you want to make sure and have a good knot on there. Okay, so if we're putting the worm on there, you can use, this applies not just to worms. I mean, this is creature baits, this is salt crawls. I mean, anything that you're going to be using soft plastic that you're wanting to Texas rig. So put it in the nose of the bait. I usually push it down on these Ultra Locks. I push it down to the bend and then try to bring it right out in the center of the worm there. So get it like so. Go ahead and run it all the way through to where it's setting up there by the eye of the hook. And I usually like it to try to get a little bit on the knot. And then what you can do is measure where you need to insert the hook back, so you can see that right there. So we'll put it right in the center, get it started, and then you can just smash that worm and it'll just bring it right out in the center. So once you get it through there, just put it right back in a little bit of the worm to hide that tip, and that keeps you weedless. So weeds, sticks, rocks, a lot of times that'll keep you from getting hung up in the hook. Bass bites it, it's no big deal. He's gonna get your hook. So alright, so shaky heads, you can pretty much use any worm you want. It's just kind of like the Texas rig, like I was telling you. And a lot of times these worms just got a real sharp nose. I'll go ahead and cut just a little bit of that off so you can get that screw lock in there a little better. But these you can put on any kind of creature bait. I mean, that would work good on there. You can put the creature bait on there, screw lock, Texas rig it, work it through the rocks or whatever you want to do. I mean, this is pretty versatile. I mean, you can put big worms on there, brush hogs. I mean, anything that you like to fish, you can put it on these shaky heads and use it. But we'll go ahead and show you how we rig them up. So like a lot of times, like I said, I like to try to go ahead and get the very tip of that cut off so it's a little bit bigger and it fits that screw lock. So you're just going to screw it down so it sets right on the ball or the weight there, and then come right back up here. It's the same concept as I showed you a little earlier with the Texas rigging. Put it in there, make sure and smash it down, try to get it through the center, and then the same concept, Texas rig it. So this rig right here alone will, a lot of times it'll sit on the bottom, like the weight will sit down and the tail will float up, and that just drives a bass nuts. So those bites, it's hard to get bites. This is the time to use that kind of thing, but don't let it just limit you to a Cinco or a trick worm or something like that. I've caught a lot of fish using any kind of creature bait like I just showed you. I mean, it will do the job. And I mean, you can work it as a Texas rig, or we even make a little bit heavier versions of these and you can flip with them. It keeps it all compact and together. So same concept, just run it right up the middle, get it to come out, Texas rig it. So like I said, you can use this with pretty much any bait that you want to use it with. Last thing I want to talk about is going to be jigs. So we offer quite a few jigs, just about any type of water or time of the year that you can imagine. A lot of them just your basic colors. We really like to follow some kind of natural presentation, you know, for like our dog knocker. It's really good in the spring, and it's good now. But a lot of these other colors, I mean, they're real natural colors, and that's what we try to follow along with and not get too crazy with it. But when you're working a jig, you just want to make sure change up your retrieve. I mean, like I said, the retrieve, you want to just slow drag it, slow roll it, keep it on the bottom, and you know, if that's not doing any good, then you know, kind of hop it every once in a while. If you get down deeper, I mean, you can get to where you really jerk that thing off the bottom. If you get it in a group of fish that's feeding and you get them on the bottom, you start stroking that jig, you're going to catch fish. So either way, we just want you to have one of these moments right here.
All right, Cody's hooked up. Dude, toad. Good one.
Just like Cody said, we want to have somebody screaming toad. We got a toad on line. So with the rest of it, you know, like the last video we had, I'll show you this short clip. And all we was doing was literally just right close to the bank. Weeds are up, fish are in that cover, throw the jig in there, hop it around a couple times, bring it back out, throw it back in the weeds, just over and over till you get one. So just remember, you can work jigs anywhere where there's weeds. You don't have to necessarily put on some kind of plastic. You can throw a jig in there. If you go out deep, you can fish jigs out deep. They're just a very versatile bait for any time of the year. So it's a strong bait to have on the end of your line anytime you go fishing. Okay, for a jig rod, a lot of times a jig rod I like to use another big rod. This one's a 7/6, 1 ounce or ½ ounce to 1 ounce. So that'll kind of go with my bigger. That'll work with my bigger jigs, stuff like that. Also use a flipping rod sometimes, depending on how deep. You can put a little bit heavier fluorocarbon line on it. So if you get down deep, you want the heavier rod with a lot of backbone. So whenever you set the hook, you make sure and send that hook home. So make sure you guys are interested in our jigs. Get on our Facebook or Instagram, send us a message. We'll get you hooked up with them. We've got a few different options. And the Shaky Heads, we do them as well, and we can kind of vary on the size. Take time to go check out Woo Tungsten. Make a good product. Like I said, it's a really good quality product, especially for the money. So make sure and check that out. Other than that, you guys, I hope you catch a good one. Make sure and tag us on our social media pages. Let us know. If you're interested in the jigs, let us know. Other than that, tight lines, guys.